0, 1. Let's get started.
Hello everybody and welcome to another episode of the Black and White United Show. I'm your host Andreas. Thank you for tuning in. And my fucking god, what a day it was. I was gonna post a video earlier on, but I thought, you know what, I'm just gonna go on socials and chill for a bit and just like read everything and just like soak it in, sort of like understand what happened over the last couple of days, what happened over the last day sort of thing. I don't know, but fuck. Wow. Anyway, so let's cut to it. This morning, we were expecting something to happen. We were expecting at least some news to see if it was going to go down to the wire for tomorrow. I thought it was going to go to like close to pretty much deadline. I think it's what's the deadline, 7:30 tomorrow night or whatever. And then it just got me thinking, like, you know, what happens if we don't get him? Like, where do we go from there? Do we go down the Devon Robertson path? Do we try and find another half back? Do we tell Johnny Noble, hey, listen, like, sorry, we tried, but we can't let you go? Or do we try and do that deal and then get pick 13 and tell Port fuck off, and then if they wanted the Joe Richards deal, fucking you cough up instead, you know what I mean? Because you guys are the ones that want him. So, look, for the only difference to be that pick in the 50s this whole time, it's just, I can't get my head around. Now, this is my opinion, but I reckon it had to do with something with Lukosius' contract. It had to do with something about them taking a certain portion of the money. I don't think it was necessarily a hold-up from what Collingwood was giving, because, I mean, to go through 30 variations of this bullshit and then to knuckle down and say, yeah, it's all good, and then have your board ring up and say, fucking all this crap about not getting him and, you know, to cancel the deal. I have it on record from a very reliable source that all the contracts and the camps of each player, everybody agreed to everything. Every list management side agreed to fucking everything. It wasn't until they left and then the Port board called up and said it's not fucking happening, right? And you can't tell me Kane Cornes didn't have some sort of influence in what was going on. 110% he had some sort of fucking influence in the whole thing. Now, this is how I also think about it, yeah? If North Melbourne, right, if he turned around and said, listen, I don't care, get me to North Melbourne, just get me the fuck back to Victoria, okay? There is no way, right, that Port can then turn around and say that pick fucking 11 or whatever the fuck North Melbourne had was going to get the deal done. Because they were saying they wanted 2 first round picks. And then all of a sudden they've got a pick which is 2 picks in front. Oh, that'll just get the deal done. So there was a lot of contradicting there, which for me it just didn't make sense. And then I was thinking, no, they're probably content with not getting exactly what they're after this draft, but they're getting other shit in return. Now, I know everyone's heard it, but just for my own sake anyway, I'm going to fucking just... So Collingwood gets Dan Houston and pick 58, okay? We give away our first round pick next year, Joe Richards, John Noble, and pick 36. I'm spewing about the pick 36, but it is what it is. Power get Lukosius, Richards, Rory Atkins. He's a spud anyway. They just took the contract of Gold Coast. Picks 13, 29, 36, and 50. Right? They give Dan Houston a 2025 round 1 pick to Gold Coast. Right? Picks 39 and 58. Suns get Noble, 2 first round picks next year, and pick 39. Now, who wins out of that deal? I'm looking at that, and I see that every single club gets exactly what they're after. This is pretty much the same deal, apart from that pick fucking 50 or whatever it was that was last night. How can all of a sudden this morning they wake up and say, oh, pick 50, yeah, no worries. I don't know, but they are just a fucking tin pot football club and just the worst organisation to deal with from top to fucking bottom. I'm glad that we got Dan Houston, and if you look at the Port Adelaide supporter groups, if you look at what Kane Cornes is saying, and I implore you, go watch his video that he posted on fucking Twitter. It is the dumbest fucking, it is the saltiest thing, and it's fucking great. It is so good to watch. Now, let's just cut straight to it. What does this do? What does this do for our backline? I mean, I'll post another video later, and we'll go through like our best 23, and we'll do some emergencies and stuff like that, and I'll do that in a different video. But what he does for our team now that we've got him, the delivery that we get off the half back line, and I am so positive they are going to use him up the field as well. They're going to push him straight up, and he's going to attack. But the good thing is too, he defends. You saw that tackle he did on Tom Lynch in his highlight reel. It's all over the internet. You've seen the way he intercept marks. You've seen the way he crunches the packs. You saw what he did to Isaac Rankin. Yeah, it was a bit of a fucking hit. Who cares, right? He won't be with us the first game, whether it's opening round or round one, whatever it is. But what he does to our team now, we have to be excited about. On the flip side, does this put us out now for the next, for 5 years' time? Maybe. You know what? Maybe it does. Maybe giving away these picks, the ripple effect will come through, and we'll cop a bit of shit down the line. But I can tell you now, and this is my opinion, but I reckon a lot of Collingwood supporters will feel the same. If we have the same sort of success, or very similar to the same success Geelong had in 07, 09, 11, something very similar to what Richmond did in 17, 19 and 20, and then we have to go through a few years of shit afterwards to get us back up there, I will happily put my hand up and say, yep, that's fine. It'll be frustrating when and if it happens, right? If it happens. But then I think to myself, are we really going to bottom out with the list that we've got? Yeah, we've got a lot of older players, but there's a shit ton of youth pushing in, right? You look at the players that we've got on our list, right? There's a lot of boys that are pushing for spots, and that'll get them when the opportunity comes. They're just going to hang around, okay? So we're probably going to see a few delistings now, I would assume. We've only really delisted Begg. I think Kruger now will go. Kruger or Ash Johnson will probably get delisted. But it's exciting times ahead. But I still feel, and I don't know about you, and drop a comment if you think it's the same shit, I really feel that we're going to go more along the Geelong path, where we might have a year every 5 years or so where we sort of like mid-table bottom out like we did this year, just missed the finals. But we're going to be competing. I know it's one player, but it's the dynamic of the team that changes, and that's something that everyone needs to be excited about, okay? Now, moving forward, what are we going to expect over the next 24 hours, less than 24 hours? I would love it if we got our pick 58, I think it was, and we traded it to another club, and we bundled it for 2 earlier picks, right, in the 40s, and then potentially tried to then go and use it for Devon Robinson. I'm a big fan of Tim Membry. I think if he can get fully fit mentally and physically, and he plays, what that does for Checkers, what that does for Jamie Elliott, what that does for Dan McStay, what that can do for either Cox or Darcy Cameron when they relax up forward. There's a whole bunch of things and equations and stuff that he can take a second or third main defender and let the others run. This is going to be so good for players like Jamie Elliott if he comes in. If we get a forward now, right, and if we get Tim Membry, it is going to be the best thing for players like Jamie Elliott. It is going to mean that he might not get the second defender, and a player of his size doesn't have to play as a tall. He can play as a small. And that's the missing link. You saw how good we played when Dan McStay came back. He got us into that grand final, right? It's exciting. It's so fucking good. I'm actually really pumped if we were to get Tim Membry. I think it'll just put pressure on other forwards too. So we have to perform, and that's what we want. So guys, I'm not going to rant on too much. I'm going to leave it here. It's been a long week. This weekend, the weekend just passed today. It's been full on, and I'm just glad now that we got what we wanted. Yeah, we're going to take a hit in regards to picks and all that fucking jargon, but this is what we wanted. We landed him. We've got him. You got Perryman in. You got Houston in. If we can get Membry, God, if we get Membry and Devon Robinson, fucking shut the gates. What a trade period that'll be, you know? But we've got, I think, a a footballer who's in the top 10 footballers in this country, a dual Australian running off the halfback. Can you just imagine? I'll just leave this with you. Maynard gets the ball out of the goal square, right? He chips it over to Howe. Howe passes it over to Houston. Houston runs, breaks a couple of tackles, just kicks it long forward. McStay runs out centre half forward, gives a quick dish off. Dacos is running past, fucking bang goal. It's just written. It's written there. Fuck. We're on. I'll post the video probably tomorrow or day after, and we'll do our best teams. Leave a comment. Call it as you see it. But fuck, we're on, boys. Let's do it. Go the fucking Pies.